Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another opening night. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and that's mostly because I haven't seen many of this summer's hot movies. This is my first time going to a movie in a long-ass time, at least since Kong. I haven't seen a big movie on the screen yet since Kong. And, not to say, like, I haven't been able to see any of the movies, I just haven't had time, mostly because of cons and making other videos and so on. So, yeah, this is a movie I actually did want to see because, I'm a sucker for these, and that movie is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales. This is the 5th film in the franchise, and I'm assuming the last in the franchise. I'm not too sure, but let's talk about the plot. Basically, Will Turner's son, Henry Turner, is looking for the Trident of Poseidon to free his father from the Flying Dutchman, so he needs help from Jack Sparrow, some girl, and, of course, like, what's left of Jack's crew, but Jack is also being pursued by another ghost captain named Captain Salazar, and his, weird kind of non-hull-looking ship and ghost crew that look like they're made out of charcoal, if that makes any sense. And basically, it is a race against time to get the Trident of Poseidon before it's too late and they can lift all the curses. So, full disclosure, I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I actually have really enjoyed them, all of them. I've enjoyed all of them, and it's funny because we went to our local drive-in to see this, and I have literally seen every Pirates of the Caribbean movie since the first one at this drive-in, and, like, I think, like, seeing a Pirates movie now, at least since the first one came out, has been a tradition to go to the drive-in to see it. So I've enjoyed going to see these movies at the drive-in. It's a tradition, and I feel that's overall what these movies are. They're drive-in, fun, popcorn summer movies. The first three, I really enjoy. I think it's, like, if they had stopped at 3, it would have been a solid trilogy. The first one is a great action-adventure movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's fantastic. Great score, great action, great special effects. It still uses practical stuff like ships and shit. And it's just a great movie, and it also revived the pirate genre after being dead since, like, Cutthroat Island. The second one and the third one are basically one story in 2 movies. I do enjoy the second and third one. The second one is a little complicated. There's a lot of betrayals and stuff happening in that one, but I like it. I didn't expect it to end as it did when it first came out. I was like, oh my god, they're making another one. The third one, I really think was a solid finale with a great final battle in the whirlpools and shit. It is extremely long. That's my only downside I'll give. It is extremely long and extremely complicated. But it did kind of wrap everything up after the third one. So when they made the fourth one, I'm like, okay, I'm up for it, new pirate adventures, it's great. The fourth one, I will say, is just, the fourth and fifth one especially, they're a lot smaller stories. They may look big, but they're much smaller driven stories. They're not overly complicated like the first 3 were. So the fourth one I actually thought was a solid treasure hunt adventure movie. Although you could just retitle it Jack Sparrow and the Last Crusade, because it's a Last Crusade knockoff. Instead of the Holy Grail, they're looking for the Fountain of Youth. But I thought the fourth one was actually pretty decent, and when it ended, I was like, okay, cool, I can't wait to see the fifth one. Took them a long-ass time to get to this one. So, what do I think of Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Dead Man Tell No Tales? I didn't like this one that much. To be fair, I won't go as far as say it sucks or it was a disappointment, because, let's be honest, I'm a sucker for these fucking movies. I've enjoyed all of them, and this one, you see, like, how should I describe it? This one had a lot of great moments, a lot of funny moments. But then there were moments that were just kind of overly complicated, a little too rushed, and overall was just kind of shoehorned in. The reason I say this is because, like, the first 2 acts of the movie, I'm all for it. It's great. It's fun. It's, like, comedic and everything. When Jack Sparrow's introduced and they're robbing, like, a bank in this Caribbean town, it's fucking hilarious. I was literally laughing all the way through that sequence. And I thought it was really fun. Like, I do feel, though, we spent too much time in the Caribbean town. I felt like, maybe 20 minutes in, we should have left to go on our sea adventure. I did feel like we spent, like, half the movie in this town, which I thought was a little ridiculous. in terms of characters, or I wanted to get to the point. So, first two acts are great. The third act is completely rushed. It is completely overly complicated. It's rushed. None of the special effects look that great. This is probably the one that has the least best effects out of all the movies. Now, to be fair, there's good effects in this movie. I thought the ghost pirates were actually kind of cool, how they're like kind of like you can only see half of them and shit, and like the villain was great. The villain was actually at times really kind of like kind of scary and shit, which I liked. But I did feel like he was like, what was the point of him? What was the point, of this villain? Like he didn't do much as a villain, I guess, emotionally as a character. Like, we get to see why, because, we get to see basically the origins of Jack Sparrow, which I thought was cool. I thought the effects on young Jack were actually pretty impressive. This is, I think, the same people who did Rogue One in terms of doing, like, CGI actors at a younger age. But, like, aside from the backstory and him looking menacing and chilling, aside from that, he was just kind of a pointless villain. He was just a completely pointless villain, but he looked good. I try to look at movies at a positive light. But, yeah, the third act was completely rushed and completely, I'll be honest, it was a little half-assed. To be honest, I felt like they just were just like, okay, we gotta wrap this shit up, because, like, the first two acts are great. The first two acts I'm following it through. But, like, the third act, I was looking at my phone. I was so bored. Because I'm just like, okay, let's just wrap this shit up and just get on with it, and just finish it up, because I'm looking at my time, I'm like, okay, let's finish this. Even though it was like, I wanted to see what happened, I was just kind of like, literally like staring there like, it's just, a bunch of flashy images and little action bits, and it's just overall just kind of Now, in terms of characters, I thought the new leads were actually okay. They weren't actually all that bad. I thought they were, if they were to do one more, which I either doubt or I think they will, I wouldn't mind one more. Just one more and then end it. And I know this is technically supposed to be the final adventure. It's supposed to wrap everything up, which it does, but there is a post-credit scene that does leave it off for one more movie. Just one more movie, Disney, and then I'll let it slide. It'll be a solid 6-part act. That'll be essentially your Star Wars or Middle-earth saga. The Pirates of the Caribbean saga. There. You've got your franchise. You can end it there, and if you're going to continue any further, do an animated series. Do an animated series about, the adventures of Jack Sparrow or something, and I'll watch it. I think I'd probably watch it and everything. That'd be actually kind of cool. Don't make it CG, just make it 2D animated. So, let's get to the characters. So, again, the first two leads are great. Like, the new leads are good. Really good. I felt actually the best character in this movie was Barbossa. And it's funny how we started him off as a villain in the first one, and over time he's become, like, this really cool character. But actually, to be honest, he doesn't show up until, like, maybe 2/3 into the movie. But he becomes the best character. He becomes more, like, a little better than Jack, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but there is a connection between him and the girl, which I won't say, and I'll be honest, I was like, at points, I'm like, I was a little sniffle, because I'm like, where'd this bowl of onions come from? That's all I'm gonna say, because I would recommend you see it, just to kind of, if you're gonna wrap up the Pirates movies, just go ahead. I did feel that, again, the villain was, like, looked good, but as a character, and aside from the backstory, it wasn't all that great. Then the side characters were just there. It was kind of cool to see some of the cameos from all the characters from other movies. I love Gibbs. Gibbs has always been one of my favorites. The little person pirate guys there. The two guards that were the comic relief in the first 3 movies. They're in this, and now they're hanging out with Barbossa. And yeah, just there, and of course, there's, Orlando Bloom, who is in, like, the beginning of the movie, at the end of the movie, and Keira Knightley only shows up very shoehorned in at the very end of the movie, because she's just literally, I guess they pulled her off a set of something, filmed her on a green screen, so, okay, she's just like, okay, hi, I'm Keira Knightley, and bye, I'm off, I've wrapped it up, where's my paycheck? The same thing can I know a lot of people probably know that there's a Paul McCartney cameo in this movie, and he's there, and it's just kind of like, hi, I'm Paul McCartney, bye. That's it. It's just a throwaway gag cameo. It's nothing important, to be honest. Like, I mean, he plays basically Jack Sparrow's uncle, who's just kind of like, Jack sees him, it's like, hey, uncle, what's up? Yeah, I'm here, bye. But I think, honestly, the weakest point of this movie was actually Jack Sparrow himself. Nothing against Johnny Depp. I think he's a good actor. But, like, I think, like, at this point in the story, like, he's just kind of there to be bait for the villains, essentially. Like, he doesn't really attribute much to the story at all, because it's more about Henry's story, Barbossa's story, and Salazar's story. This isn't really about Jack Sparrow in this one, and that's a shame, because the Pirates movies have always been about him, and even the fourth one, they tried to go that route, but unfortunately that didn't work too well. But, like, I don't know why, because in this one, basically in this movie, they're pulling a Force Awakens. They're pulling basically your love and nostalgia for the first four movies with new characters that are going to be the new characters to follow throughout the rest of the series. So you, like, basically these older characters, Jack, Will, Elizabeth, Barbossa, they're just taking their final bow and just, you know, wrapping up their stories, which I do appreciate. I really do appreciate them wrapping a lot of those stories. But Jack was the weakest one in this movie, and the weird part is that the whole time he, like, I know he's basically a drunk in, like, all the movies and everything, and, you know, it's played for funny laughs and everything. And there are times where he's really funny. There are times where it's funny, it's hysterical, but I get the feeling that Johnny Depp, I think both on and off the movie, he was drunk the whole time they were shooting. It felt that way. Like, he felt like he was just, like, literally, I guarantee that bottle of rum he was always carrying, it was real. I guarantee he was probably drinking the whole time and just being like, oh, I'm Captain Jack Sparrow, and I'm here to do my shtick. Where's my paycheck? That actually, I will be honest, that sums up a lot of the actors in this movie. A lot of the ones that have been in the previous movies, they're just looking for their paycheck. And I don't blame them. You know, you gotta feed your family, you gotta do your work, which I don't mind. But I think aside from maybe Jeffrey Rush as Barbossa, the characters that are basically have been a stay-in for all the movies, they're just there to collect the paycheck, and they didn't put as much effort into this one as they did in the others. And that's a shame, because this is, again, supposed to wrap up all these characters' stories, and it's supposed to wrap up everything, especially if this is going to be the final adventure. And if you're going to do it as the final adventure, you gotta end it properly. You gotta give it your all. Give your final bow, and just give it your all at the very end. But here, we don't see that. I did feel, just overall, like, I wouldn't say it was disappointing. I liked it for what it was, but as compared to the first four, this is probably the weakest one. This is probably the weakest one in the series. And I thought the fourth one and the second one were actually the weakest, but no, this one's, I don't know, just, I don't like to say that a movie sucks. I only say a movie sucks if it pisses me off or it bores me to shit, you know? I save my judgments for bad, sucky movies, unless they're bad, sucky movies, and I try to enjoy movies for what they are. This one had its great moments, but there were a lot of moments that were just half-assed, rushed, actors waiting for their paycheck, and just, like, Johnny Depp completely drunk throughout the whole movie, and he's washed up. They say he's washed up in the movie, and that's what he felt like in this. So, I'd say overall, the movie is, if you want to go see it and just see everything wrap up, I'd say go see it. Check it out. At least try to give them money to make one more, like, possibly, because there is that post-credit scene, and if they make another one, I just don't want there to be another post-credit scene. Just end it, wrap whatever left in the whole series to wrap up, and then just don't do any more. End it at 6, and, you know, you can just do your final thing, because I think at this point in time, the Pirates have sailed their course. They've had their time, and it was a great run. It was a great run. All the movies have been great, but I think just after this one, either do one more or just stop. So I would, again, I'm not saying it's disappointing. I'd say go see it. If you're a Pirates fan, you're gonna, like, really enjoy and have a lot of fun with it, especially if you go to the drive-in like I do. But, in terms of all the movies in the series, this is the weakest one. And I give it, out of all of them, I would give this, like, maybe a 5 out of 10. So it's half and half. So it's a mixed bag, honestly, is how I would put it. A mixed bag of either gold or a bit of, like, seaweed. Is how I would put it. So, judge it for what you will. Take my word for it. If you want to go see it, go see it. I'm not going to stop you. But, just keep in mind, this is the weakest one. And if anything, wait for a rental, or just go see it because you like pirates. But yeah, that's it, guys. So 5 out of 10 for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. I want to know what you guys thought about it. Let me know in the comment section below. And what's your favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie, or what's your favorite pirate movie of all time? We can go back to the 30s, back when this stuff was popular with this shit. So let me know in the comments below. So until the next video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. This is Big Jack Films, signing off.